Welcome to the Kachman Wellness Show. I came straight from playing pickleball. And today's show, the wellness show here, is about preventing, reversing diabetes. That's a big thing for me. It's extremely prevalent throughout the country, throughout our town, throughout the United States, throughout the world. It's a pandemic. But then again, the good news is that it is preventable and reversible 90% of the time, and it's fairly simple. And I will, after this half-hour show, you will know a lot. I've included some books here I'm going to point out to you, in some website. I encourage you to look at YouTube. I've got shows on there too. Just go Amazon or Facebook and Rudy Kachman, and they will come up. But if you just want to not do a lot of reading and just get rid of it quickly, I encourage you to look beyond keto here with Susan Ryan. And you can go to Amazon Books, and you can't believe it. I paid $35 for this book. Okay, I mean, that's not an unreasonable price. But she has people, a lot of people have read the book and then sent it back in and is selling it as a used book. And you know what I did? $5. $5, you can get this book. You got to get it. You get the type 2 diabetes, get this book, because it's a quick way. What she does in here, first of all, for 60 pages, she explained to you what keto is, Keto, and then, you can't believe this, she is in there, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and everyone exactly how to make it. Just a very, in other words, you can get rid of your diabetes by eating good food. It looks delicious. She has pictures in there. She tells you the amount of carbohydrates, the amount of protein, the amount of fat. It's all calculated. This is the answer to it, and you don't have to do a lot of reading. It's easy to do. If you want more detailed information, which also is not hard to read, I've got here the Diabetes Code by Jason Fung. I encourage you. He's extremely famous. A lot of YouTube shows too, and excellent YouTube shows. Incidentally, Susan Ryan is on YouTube, and she has about the psychology of eating, and the great YouTubes to watch. I encourage you. And now, if you want to back it up, I mean, these are very famous people that I'm mentioning to you, and they're honest. They are speaking from their heart, just from their heart. Here's another one by Fork in the Road by Jen Unwin, and her husband, Dr. Unwin, Unwin, from England. He's now world famous. They speak to 22 different countries now. They have a great website, which I'd like you to look at, and you can even become a member to their charity if you wish. I'm not raising money here, but I did join them. It cost me $100 a year. And it's Public Health Collaboration, phcuk.org. That'll get you there. They'll teach you a lot of stuff for free. But if you want to join them, there's unbelievable, unending amount of information about good health. You'll not live long enough to watch every one of the videos. If you want a lot more information, look at that site. When I discovered them, and they're having a convention coming up soon. I was going to go to it, but my daughter wants me to come to Florida. No, to Augusta, Georgia, not Florida, and come first. And then they post all the information from their conference right on their site. So like last year's conference, you can see it on that website, phcuk.org. Last year's, every lecture is on there. So I'm offering you a lot of information. And, you know, let's speak a little bit more about diabetes. There's type 1, type 2. Type 1 is where the pancreas is totally dead, usually caused by an autoimmune disease. Actually, one of the ones is drinking milk. Yes, yes. Milk can destroy your pancreas. Bang, your reaction to it. And and the other causes too. So it's not just you can't control it. You can control it some, and then you need to take insulin. But if you eat a proper way of eat a nutrient way or ketone type way, you'll need very little insulin because insulin has side effects. Insulin has growth factors and it makes cancer grow. For example, many of the side effects that you don't want. Okay, so if a type 1 diabetic eats correctly, by maybe about 60-70% good fats, 20% protein, 15% vegetables and fruit. Vegetables and fruit are not 100% healthy. You need some of them, but you can read a book called A Plant-Based Con that'll describe to you that a total plant-eating way of eating is not necessarily that healthy. But I want you to read the book, not bothered on my information here, okay? And then there's type 2 diabetes, which is 90% of the diabetes, but diabetes causes 30, 40 diseases which you can avoid them: heart attacks and strokes and dementia, high blood pressure, amputations, dislocations, increased rates of cancer is a real big one. Get rid of your diabetes. Don't accept your diabetes. I had a person talk to me recently. He says, "Oh, I prefer to take the drugs. I accept the disease." Well, you may live a little longer, but you're going to not live to be 100 and play pickleball with me. Incidentally, in case you want to play, here it is. I came straight from playing a match. But I don't suggest that everybody do it. At age 88, a lot of people aren't steady enough to play it, so I'm not promoting the sport. I'm just saying that I do exercise regularly. Pick the sport you like, not what I like, because there's risk. You can take a fall, for example, but it's spreading across the nation. So since I came straight from playing today, I brought the paddle with me, and I even wearing the outfit that I wore. And I'm playing again on Sunday at Aces the Place here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So type 2 diabetes, and a very important test to run, very important, which hardly any doctor is running, and I think it's, I don't know, that we doctors aren't doing it worries me. The hospitals don't order it. Well, then the business to treat sick people. But that we doctors don't do it is not understandable, because your serum insulin is elevated 10 to 15 years before the blood sugar is elevated. They're letting you have, they call it pre-diabetes, 5.7 to 6.4 HbA1c. That's the 3-month sugar thing. And well, things are occurring inside your body in this period of time where the insulin is elevated. You're getting vascular disease. You don't have any symptoms yet. And then your blood sugar is up and say, "Oh, you got diabetes." And then they want you to take insulin. You take the insulin, you inject it, and you notice that the site where you inject it, it raises up. Why is that? Because you're not getting rid of the sugar. You're just taking the sugar and putting it in the cell. Now the cell's got it. You're still quite ill, okay? Your cells either sends it to the liver, uses it up, or stores it as fat. And you'll notice most people would take insulin. They weigh a lot, which makes things a lot worse. makes things a lot worse. I want you to get rid of your diabetes. You can do it 90% of the time. And the easiest and quickest path is to get Susan Ryan's book. She has the recipe. She tells you what to eat. A lot of food. It may be a little different food you're used to eating. You may be a sugar addict at the moment. And nature has arranged it as such. It's not till we started farming and growing things that we added breakfast. And another easy way too, if you want to use her book and really speed things up to get rid of it being quicker, 2 to 3 weeks, you can get rid of your diabetes. Yes, it's not a permanent disease. A lot of people will tell you, oh, this is a disease of a lifetime. Wrong. 90% of the time you get rid of it quickly. If you eat 2 meals a day, you skip her breakfast and eat 2 or 3 of her meals. And what I really like is time-regulated eating. 16-8. For 16 hours you don't eat, and then 8-hour period that you eat. It doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be exact. The reason this works is when you wake up through circadian rhythm, it's called, and the light approaches, your body secretes about 5 different hormones that keeps your blood sugar like that. Yeah, it's not going down where you're hungry. No. So I play pickleball at 10:30, actually 9:30 or so, till about 11:15 or so, and then I eat my first meal around noon. Doesn't have to be exact, okay? And if that meal were to be good fats, that's omega-3 fats. We have good fats and bad fats. And so all fat isn't bad. It's much better than sugar because for example, if you don't eat sugary foods and you're eating some protein, some eggs, some good fat, guacamole, for example, and then another meal around 6 or 7. As you're eating good fat and less sugar, the sugar level goes down, the insulin level goes up, the fat cells open up, they go to the liver, are converted to ketones. Ketones are small molecules of energy, just like sugar is, except smaller, and there's a lot more energy in them. Your brain loves them, your organs love them, and then you're losing weight because you're living. Fat is your energy molecule, not sugar. Now, if you say don't eat breakfast because your brain is secreting growth hormone, steroids, ghrelin is going down. That increases your appetite in the stomach. That's going down. All these hormonal changes are occurring. So your sugar's like that. I'm not hungry. I'm playing pickleball, and then it makes you feel so good to play a sport, take a walk, whatever that you like to do, that I don't even feel like eating at noon. Time-regulated eating. You may call it fasting. Some people will miss days or weeks. Don't do that. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. You do that way, and the advantage to that is your body is, while you're not eating, is undergoing autophagia. It's repairing cells in your body, converting them back into normal muscles, or you may even be excreting them through the urine. So it's repairing, fixing, creating new healthy muscle tissue, for example. So fasting, time-regulated eating, and autophagia, where reparative work, that is really the way to live a healthy, long life. That's to live a longer life. What do I weigh today? 134 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm at a set point. I seem to weigh that every day. Metabolism is arranged so that you do not need to eat that way every day correctly. You can even have a dessert as long as in this time period. If you have your lunch meal is the one I was describing, and you can go to Susan Ryan's books and pick her lunch. And what you eat at dinner time almost doesn't matter. Yeah, in my body, and I have no disease or anything. It just, I don't know, 34 pounds almost every day. So your body has figured out what my set point is. I think if I'm eating a little more than usual, my metabolic rate increases. So if I'm not reading enough, it decreases. That's the reason I think there is such a thing as a set point, and I think I actually have it. So I think this is an excellent way. Now, if you want, I need more information than you're providing, Dr. Kachman, Jason Fong's book or Susan Ryan's book. I want to know more. I tell you, an excellent way is you can look at their website too. Susan Ryan is full of YouTube shows. Look at those. They're free. They're free. And remember I was saying get a copy for a book, $5. I was talking to a church group, you won't believe this, and all were diabetic. And I looked on the used book, they're $5. I bought all 20 people a book and gave it to them. And the other day I was walking down the road here where I live in downtown Fort Wayne. Now a lady runs up to me and says, Dr. Kachman, I lost 30 pounds. My diabetes is gone, and so is my husband's. I'm not surprised, but it's nice to hear it. It's nice. I'm not surprised. But I want a lot more information. This is really a good one, The Fork in the Road with Jen and David Unwin. They both overweight. They both have diabetes, and he works in the English socialized system at, I think, 9,000 people, 5 doctors, and he was overweight and she was overweight. She talks about the psychology of things. And one day a patient walked in that he had treated for 8 years, and says to Dr. Unwin, you don't know what you're talking about, David. But instead of going like this and throwing her out of the office, he listened to her. And in England, they save the statistics of health on patients from the day they're born till the day they die. They have about 40 years worth, so it's easy to do scientific studies. And he ran studies with Dr. Taylor, and they found out what this lady who was speaking to other ladies on the internet was talking about was absolutely correct. And they ran a few studies, and now what they have found in their English system, they have a significant number of diabetics who are now returned to normal on no medication. Now he's traveling across the world giving the message. 22 countries. Listen to David. I'm going to get a lot of YouTube shows. His wife is a psychologist, so she's looked at the psychology of the problem, and they put together this guide to food freedom. But if you look at their website, publichealthcollaborationuk.org, the unending amount of information, just unending amount of information. And Benjamin Beckman is on there, and his explanation is about an hour long. Listen to him at one of the conferences. YouTube, you can listen to him. Explains in great detail. We don't, you hear about metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, overweight, cholesterol, etc. And what he is really saying is they should call it insulin syndrome. It's the insulin that's driving it. Remember, you're giving the insulin to the diabetic, and the cells get fat, and you get fat. So insulin is the cause of a lot of this disease, yes. Eli Lilly, said, this is saving the world, and the cost is quite high. In Europe, it's a lot cheaper, but they have control of the government programs that don't allow the drug companies, that more than Lilly sells them now, to drop the price. You're paying a lot more than you should be paying. But what I'm saying, you should be paying, a lot of the time you can get rid of it. And now I begin to read about metformin too. That metformin, is the first thing they give a diabetic, a pill. Well, come to find out, it affects the mitochondria, the energy molecules inside your cell, that it affects them, and metformin, cause diarrhea and constipation, all sorts of symptoms. But look at the YouTube shows on metformin. There's quite a few on there. And you just go to Google metformin YouTube shows and gather your own information. Don't just listen to me, and you'll find out that metformin has a lot of side effects. By eating the right way, you won't need it. But if you feel like, I'm not going to give a metformin, my doctor isn't going to give it, but look at those YouTube shows, gather information, read about it in these books, because it has side effects, and some are very serious. Some are even deadly. Yeah, read about it. Don't stop taking it because I said so. Like I said, if you need more information, look at this public health collaboration, UK.org. You'll not live long enough to watch every one of their informational Benjamin Beckman's 1-hour lecture on it. You call it insulin syndrome instead of metabolic syndrome, because insulin is the first one that causes a small hole in your blood vessels, and that starts the atherosclerotic process. So having high blood pressure, to have kidney disease, renal disease, liver disease, fatty liver, fatty pancreas, actually 30% of the people that are thin enough, you think everybody diabetic, they're overweight. Well, that's wrong. 30% of the people that are normal weight have type 2 diabetes. If you ran the right test on them, if you have fat in the pancreas and the liver and nowhere else on your body, that alone would give you diabetes. So the serum insulin test you want to get at all times, we should be doing it on children, starting at age 2 or 3, because children, the highest obesity rate is in 2 to 6 years old, not 10 or 11, where the pediatricians are starting to run a few tests. Now they're proving the Ozempic and Mirage, those drugs. And some people are so seriously overweight, 300, 400, 500 pounds, they probably should take them. I didn't say to take them, probably should. So gather the information. Okay, you can go to YouTube, Rudy Kachman, and I discuss them. I interview somebody who's on it, and I also, after that, did a 1-hour TV show like this to speak about those medications. There's good and there's bad. I didn't say stop it. I didn't say to start it. But some people with a BMI over 35 consider taking it, but gather the information. If you're under 25, because you could have bulimia, anorexia, different things, it may be too dangerous to take them there. In between, think about it, but diabetes, if you lose this weight, will go away pretty quickly. But after a year of regularly taking something, they develop a resistance, and then you need to take more and more. And some people start having side effects at that point. So they're good and there's bad. Learn about it in detail. But in some people, maybe the only way for them to get better. I'm quite concerned about what they're feeding to our children, Just Google it. School lunch. It's not just in our town, but look at our town. Cinnamon buns for breakfast, orange juice, milk. Read Joe Keon's book about milk. Whitewash Joe Keon. He describes tremendous number of references. He discusses the science of milk. If you were to give milk of one animal to another animal, they would die because they have different proteins, different carbohydrates, different fats in them. We humans tolerate it a little bit, and it's a complex subject, so I want you to gather information. Joe Keon, Whitewash is a book. There are other books, but describes it in great detail. There's so many hormones in there that, and you can have lactose intolerance, for example. Last night I ate dinner with some friends, and remember I weigh 134 pounds, and at the end they gave us a choice of desserts, which I can get away with most of the time because I weigh 134 the next day. I ordered a piece of cheesecake. Major mistake. Major mistake. I had significant diarrhea starting a few hours later. And why was that? Lactose intolerance. Yeah, after age 4 or so, we don't tolerate milk as well. It's certain nation groups don't tolerate at all. Asians don't tolerate milk at all. They don't drink it at all. Blacks, they have about a 25% intolerance rate. About 50% of white people do. I knew better, but I still ordered, and I really tried to avoid it. But there was, again, absolute proof that lactose intolerance is a significant thing, and it is to be avoided. And so I don't want you to accept the diabetes, okay? And exercise is important. People think, well, I'll exercise at a weight. That's about 20-30%. Exercise makes us feel good, but most of us, after we're done with it, we eat a little bit more, and the benefit it's not the greatest, but it's good. It makes you feel good. Music and dancing and positive thinking, very good. But look at the kids, what they're eating. Some kids have no other source of food, so they go to the schools, and they're eating a sugar addict's diet. I call it. I try to make an appointment to speak to the head of the school board, but I've got nowhere so far. But I'll get there sooner or later. There's so much lobbying money. There's so much that they give to the schools, like they give them a lot of money to make sure that you notice on every meal there's milk. But milk can be very unhealthy. And at the neighborhood clinic here in town, I noticed that the milk people are right next door. And every meal that they give the children in the neighborhood clinic, a lot of which are poorer people, poor children, I'm sure they're all diabetic, and they make them drink milk. I've been there and talked to them, but the lady in charge told me that they couldn't do that because the milk people are providing the funding for the clinic for the neighborhood children. Mm-hmm. That's occurring right in this town. Neighborhood health clinic, look at it. Milk people are right next door, but it doesn't mean I have to put up with it. I'll gladly point this out. So look online from other shows on diabetes. I don't want you to accept it. You get rid of it quickly. Occasional person, the pancreas is dead and they need to take some insulin. But thanks you for listening to stuff. I encourage you to look at these books. I especially encourage you to look at the free YouTube shows of Susan Ryan and the Unwins and Jason Fung. They're world famous and they're accurate. They're quite accurate in what they say. It's in many other books. Why am I doing this? Because I love you. I want you to live to be 100, to play pickleball with me. No, pickleball is your own decision. A lot of people shouldn't play it, especially at age 88. But I do it. I already did it today. I came straight here with the paddle in my hand, and somebody I played against said, "Why don't you take the paddle and show it to people on TV? They may laugh a little." I love you. See you next time. I do it because I care about you. After all, I am a doctor. Bye-bye.